Hi, guys, and welcome to this snippet. I am so excited, as always, to share information with you. And as in most of my videos, I also drop in some hidden subconscious reprogramming for you. So you always receive. So open yourself up to receive in this video. You will receive it consciously or subconsciously. Either way, you will receive an upgrade by listening, watching, tuning in to today's kablam. So I want to share with you today in this video about feminine leadership, about the shift that's happening collectively that we're all seeing. And I'm just going to be putting positive momentum into the changes that we are seeing collectively, but also personally as well on an individual level. So the theme today that I'm going to be talking about is feminine leadership. So tracing back a little bit in history, we have been seeing thousands of years of patriarchy, of a very masculine, dominant way of leading societies forward. You know, most presidents are men, most leaders have been men. Not to say that there hasn't been any female leaders, but we can all agree that generally we see more men in leadership positions. And we are also noticing that that is shifting, and we have also seen a swing of the pendulum. So obviously back in the 50s, when women were very suppressed and couldn't vote and they have very little rights, you know, it started with women being able to vote, and then tracing from back then up until now, it's progressed. In certain areas, it's almost become a little violent and aggressive, where, you know, feminism has taken a really strong force and women have been rising up in quite the aggressive way. And that's the swinging of the pendulum. So when someone has been very oppressed, oppression will only last so long until there's a backlash, until there's a rising up, until there are riots. Because everyone deserves to have their own free will and everyone deserves to have their say in the collective. So for anyone who's experienced oppression for a very long time, you know what that feels like. And in the beginning, it can feel very victimizing. It can feel like you have no control. It can feel like you have no power, but that only lasts so long until the power that's inherent within you begins to express itself. So because of the extreme oppression that has been happening for such a long time, we've been seeing this sort of backlash from the feminine, you know, women stepping into leadership, women stepping into business in a more prominent way. But we've also seen women stepping into leadership in a masculine way. So it's been a little funny to observe how women have been wanting to take their power back and to become feminine leaders, but then they have become masculine by doing so. Because since we live in a world where if you want success in business, if you want success in anything in life, you have to, you know, sharpen your elbows and get masculine in order to get stuff done. So that has been true so far, but we are seeing that changing. We're seeing so many women stepping up and talking about femininity, stepping up and talking about the importance of listening to the divine feminine and the divine feminine voice and her intuition. And it's what I'm very grateful for now is that we're seeing this shift from, you know, females being very oppressed, and then females kind of rioting and wanting their rights and their say and stepping into their power. But then since they've had to sort of meet the force with an equal force, they've had to do it in a masculine way. So a lot of women now are actually recovering from being overly masculine, hyper independent, and basically behaving like a man in her own life and in business. And that is very toxic to a woman. So men are dopamine driven. It's very healthy for men to be driven by dopamine, but women are oxytocin driven. So it's more rewarding for women to stay in an oxytocin dominant state, and it's healthy for a man to continue his dopamine driven state. When women swap over into being dominant, into being dopamine driven, where it's like you fight for it, you go out, you chase, you hustle, you grind, you do all of that. Her oxytocin will become so depleted that she will eventually burn out and just get sick. And this is what a lot of women in the business world are healing from now. They're actually healing from being too masculine, building their own businesses and doing everything and then feeling like a man whilst you're doing it. Myself included. So luckily I can laugh about it now because that has been a healing journey for me as well, because for big parts of my life I have had to show up like a man, in order, and we can go into my childhood as well, like growing up without a dad and having to be my own father and this and that, but mostly in business as well, in order to get success and getting things moving forward. I and I'm taking responsibility for that, chose to show up like a man because that is what the social construct rewards. If you show up like a man and you have masculine energy, then you're the alpha, and people listen to you basically. But that is changing now, because now it is becoming more the norm, and it's becoming more natural to understand that we need to listen to the feminine guidance, to the softness, to the intuition. And we can also see that, having a very male dominant driven way of driving humanity forward, there's also benefits to that. And we need healthy masculine energy. There's also this, obviously a clear, I'm going to be talking all over the place here, but it all makes sense. So there's obviously a distinction and a difference between a healthy masculine and a toxic masculine energy. So toxic masculine energy is overly controlling, will bulldoze you, overly dominant, won't listen to you, will make you feel like you don't have any willpower, is enslaving in nature, whilst positive, healthy masculine will make you feel heard, seen, and listened to. And I'm just seeing the sun and the moon now, so a healthy masculine is the same as the sun. The sun is well, we can argue whether the sun is still or not, but the sun is there. The sun is consistently there. It shows up consistently, and it provides, and it gives life. So that's the natural masculine energy. It provides life. It provides sustenance, what we need to survive, and it's consistent and it's there. But the sun doesn't try to control you, to manipulate you, to dominate you. It's just there. And it watches you, and it observes you, and it listens to you. It sees everything. Whilst the feminine is not as constant. The feminine is more flowy, the watery, the emotions, and it changes, and she changes her mind, and she also listens to her intuition, which is connected. We can go into the womb, and we can go into the universe, and we can go into what's behind the veil and all of that. But and now I'm seeing a king and the queen. It's very visual here when I'm talking. So the saying, behind each great man there's a great woman, which I think is going to change soon. The behind thing, I know a lot of women, they're like, why am I behind you? I'm not behind any man. But the man who really succeeds in life, he has learned to listen to a woman and her intuition and her guidance, because that's connected to something that a lot of people say that men don't have. That a lot of people say that women have this connectivity to nature, to their intuition, to the universe, to guidance that men don't have. I don't know if I subscribe to that. I think that's social conditioning. I think men are intuitive, but men are more intuitive than what they're aware of. Since women have been given this sort of allowance to be more in touch with their emotions and their intuition, they've been able to practice their intuition more, and therefore they're more connected to it. And since men have been conditioned to be more cut off from their feelings, they may not just have such a strong connection to their intuition. So it's this social conditioning that we're looking at here, which is changing. So where I'm going with this is the back to the pendulum. So, there was the me movement and very strong feminism and women showing up very strongly to get their rights and to be heard for good reason. I'm not saying that any of this is good or bad. We're just watching the natural ebb and flow of nature playing out. So women have been like, hey, I'm here, and hey, I'm not going to be oppressed anymore, and hey, I can do this too, and hey, I don't need a man to do all of this. And it's very masculine. And we see this in the movies too. So it's really nice to see that in the movies, they're putting more females into the leadership roles. They're putting more females into the hero roles instead of the, oh, please save me role. And that's really nice to observe. But what we're also observing in the movies is that the women that are put into the leadership roles, the women that are put into the hero roles, they're masculine. Even their outfits and the way that they behave and their mannerisms, they're behaving like men. So we're still in that transition phase where we're still associating leadership with being masculine. And just because you're a woman and you step into a leadership position, if you're still masculine, doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman, that's still masculine energy. And the rebalancing that we're seeing taking place now on the earth and collectively on the planet is that we need more feminine energy. Mother Earth is requiring this rebalancing because the overpowering of the masculine energy has been destroying her. And when I say destroying her, I mean it's been destroying the planet and it's been destroying the sense of self of a lot of women. So that's why women now are starting to speak up. They're starting to speak up even more for their rights, which is wonderful. And we're also moving away from the toxicity from it because of the swing of the pendulum, because of many women now are speaking up for their rights. They also have a lot of suppressed bitterness and resentment and anger towards men. So that's now we're coming on to the other side where women want to suppress men, where women want to say, actually, now it's your time to sit down and be quiet and listen to me. Now I'm going to take away your free will. Now it's women who's going to take over and rule the world. So that's just the opposite of the same and an equal extreme. So any extreme of any of them is not what we're going for here. We want a balance, a unionship of the masculine and the feminine. But we need to allow the feminine to have her uproar. We need to allow the feminine to have her, anger to play out, basically, because of rightly so, because of all of the years of oppression. So we're just watching that play out. And as the feminine is releasing her anger and as the feminine is releasing her resentment towards being oppressed and she is standing up and she's speaking, that energy will eventually subside, and then the true feminine energy can start to arise. Not the I'm a woman and I need to be in leadership and therefore I'm going to be masculine to lead. The true feminine essence can start to arise, and this is what I'm really excited about. And for those who have been this is a funny practice for me because I get very excited about all of the things that I want to share with you that I literally have to work on grounding and calm myself down and speak slower. So what is very exciting is that there's 2 new programs, and this is not a sales thing. I'm just sharing with you because it's fun. I have the abundance coaching that I'm setting up now very soon, and there's also going to be the feminine leadership coaching as well for women to get in touch with what is really feminine leadership. How can you become a business owner? How can you lead from a feminine place without becoming a man, basically, because that's just going to drain you and exhaust you. And the beautiful thing about that is that women then get a chance to fully express themselves, become true deliberate creators of their reality, and bring the energy into the world that the world is needing right now. So we are needing more female leaders. The earth does actually need it. The earth is thirsty for nourishment. So the feminine nourishes, the feminine cares, the feminine, breastfeeds, the feminine caresses, the feminine gives oxytocin, the feminine builds connection. And that is what we need on a collective scale, and most likely for a lot of us individually as well, connection and nurture. Because we've been so masculine driven, and I know I'm speaking for myself here too, it's needed to nurture ourselves and to nurture Mother Earth back into wholeness. And with wholeness, I'm referring to the feminine and the masculine coming together instead of fighting each other, instead of oppressing each other, instead of having these power games, like the masculine taking over and oppressing the feminine, and then the feminine, rebelling against that and trying to oppress the masculine. It's not either or that we need both. And I know that this is obvious, and for anyone who's in the spiritual community, you're like, yeah, we know that. But there's one thing knowing it conceptually, but what actually matters is embodying it and living it in real life. And this is what's going to be reflected collectively as well when women can really start to tune into what are her needs, what does it feel like to her to show up fully in her authentic expression of self, to be in her full femininity, and to lead from a feminine place instead of from a masculine place. And that's when the dance of the masculine and the feminine can finally come into harmony. And when the dance of the masculine and the feminine can finally come into harmony, what do we see on a global scale? You can only start to imagine, right? So, so when we speak, when we tune into the word harmony, what is it then that is then going to fall away? When we have harmony, do we have war? No. When we have harmony, are we destroying the planet? No. When we have harmony, are we destroying ourselves? No. So when we come into that harmonious, beautiful dance between the masculine and the feminine, and I know I'm speaking in vague terms here now, but you can boil it down into your own specifics and what that looks like into your life. That's when we reach balance. That's when we reach equilibrium. And that's when we can finally start to collaborate on a collective scale and become a cohesive, unified humanity that can operate functionally. And from those from the higher realms watching, the human race, we're still in the toddler phase. We're still in the game, power games. So, and I'm not saying that to belittle humanity as a species, but when we do zoom out and watch, if we just watch us on a history level and where we are right now, we are still in the toddler phase. We're still arguing for materialism. We're still arguing for power. We're still saying, no, this is mine and that's yours. And we fight each other over resources when we are all the same. We're all the same freaking species here together. Do we see it? Like when we look at other species in nature that operate in harmony in their own ecosystem, what do? There's this inherent knowledge in them where they operate as a whole. And they don't take advantage of resources. They're not saying, no, these are my apples and you can't have them. Or, you don't see a lion killing 15, zebras and trying to keep them all to himself and not feed his family. They don't operate like that because it's inherent in their intelligence that's inherent within them that they can work in harmony with nature. And that's what us humans are starting to grow into. We're maturing into that, which is very wonderful to see. But there's also a lot of women who need support in understanding what it feels like and what it means to step into feminine leadership, because I myself as well, and many women that I know and watching women collectively, have become way too masculine in their leadership. So more women are going to have a say. More women are going to step into their power. I know that's a very common saying. It's like, what's that really mean? But stepping into your true power, having all you are in true connection with yourself and your source energy. You have no fear of expressing your truth. But with expressing your truth, you are not chopping everyone's heads off. You're expressing your truth from a place of grace. You're expressing your truth from a place of respect. You're expressing your truth from a place of understanding that I am you, you are me, we're all connected, and we're all in this together. So when we arrive at a place where we understand that we are all connected, we are part of a web, there's so much more to reality than just what we see. As you know, what we see is just a tiny little slice on the whole spectrum of light. When we come together and we operate unified instead of me versus you, we think of us, then we start to operate in a completely different way. And that's when the balancing of the masculine and the feminine comes into place, because we need that balance. So the feminine needs to be heard, the feminine needs to be seen, the feminine needs to be listened to, her intuition needs to be listened to, her feelings needs to be listened to. She is the sea of emotion, and that needs to be listened to constantly, all the time, because it changes. So anything that changes and ebbs and flows needs to be paid attention to all the time. That's why the sun is there constantly, consistently, providing consistently, and watching Mother Earth as she flourishes, as she has her winters, her autumns, her springs, as she has the droughts, and then the desert, and then the rain, and the storm, and the sun, and just not the sun. The sun is watching. But everything that is happening, that Mother Earth is doing, Mother Earth is also nurturing all of us. So Mother Earth is abundant. She is the one that provides the resources and the food for us to survive. She's breastfeeding us, basically. She's giving us all the nourishment that we need. Bless her. So if we are not honoring the feminine, if we are not providing what the feminine needs to thrive and to survive, she will die. And if she dies, we all die. So, and that's not to say if the sun dies, then we don't die. Again, we need equally both. And I know, again, that I'm talking in very metaphysical, metaphorical terms, but you know what this means to you. So when I'm speaking about these energies, you're probably reflecting on your own life where you're like, oh, wow, yeah, I have been a bit masculine here. Or if you're a man watching it, maybe you can reflect on when you've been in your healthy masculine and you felt like, wow, I'm like the sun here. Great. These iOS settings are just ridiculous. But hey, appropriate, I guess. So if you're a man watching, what I was saying, if you're a man watching, you could probably reflect back on your life, but where you feel like, wow, yeah, I was really in my healthy masculine there. I was centered. I held myself in integrity. I held a space, just a space of awareness, and provided that space for a woman to be in her full expression. You most likely have had those experiences, whether they've been small or they're on a very occasional, or if that's a daily thing for you. Maybe you're a husband and you have a great relationship with your wife, and one of the things that you enjoy is just be the awareness of her flourishing and her ups and downs and emotions and creativity and everything that she wants to do, and gives you genuine joy to watch her be in her full expression of her femininity. Equally, if you're, and also maybe you've had some reflections of yourself in the past where you have been overly dominant, where you have been overly controlling, and you have been bulldozing, and that has had its negative consequences that you've had to clean up afterwards, where people have been put off, people have been, felt rejected by you, people felt dominated by you, people moved away from you, and people just didn't like you because you were overly dominant. And likewise with women, you can reflect on in your own life where you have been in your healthy feminine and where you've been in toxic femininity. Toxic femininity is a lot of emotional manipulation to get what you want, and that's why we see this in kids a lot. So boys, when they play, they fight with each other, and they can kick and push and this and that. So they are more in the physical, but girls, because of genetics and because men are usually stronger and just how we're programmed genetically, we know how to manipulate through emotion and through thought. So that's how we win. So boys win through fighting, girls win through emotional manipulating. So that's the toxic side of it. And you can probably, it's my sofa, but by the way, when I'm sitting around in the sofa, hear fart sounds. I promise. um, you can reflect it in your own life where you have been in your healthy femininity, where you have been able to express yourself with grace, where you have been able to express your truth, you've been able to express your needs, where you've been able to express your boundaries. That's a whole other topic that I will make a video about as well, where boundaries are very, very, very necessary for a woman. And it's so important for a woman to know herself. So many women get taken advantage of, so many women become oppressed, so many women are not heard, also because she doesn't know how to express herself and she doesn't know how to set boundaries. The cleaner is here. Okay, I think the sound is gone. So as a woman, you can reflect in your life where you have been in your healthy feminine. And also a part of being in a healthy feminine is to allow yourself to receive support from the masculine. So you express your needs, you express your boundaries. The man provides, he protects. I'm overgeneralizing here a lot. I can go into specifics in another video, but the man protects and provides, the woman nurtures and connects. And when you've been in your healthy feminine, you feel it. Like there's more flow in your body. The tone of your voice changes. The way that you express yourself feels softer. And you've probably felt when you've been in your masculine, you become more. There's like a hardness. There's like a more left brain thinking. You take initiative. You tell people this is what we're gonna do. It's you can feel it. I feel a distinct difference when I shift from masculine to feminine energy, and it's super interesting to observe myself. And it's also very interesting to observe how others perceive me and how others respond to me when I'm in the different energies. It's very fascinating. So when you reflect on your life, you have probably, if you're a woman, observed that you feel better when you're more predominantly in your feminine. And this is not to say that a woman is only supposed to be in her feminine and a man is only supposed to be in her masculine. We need both. Men also need to tap into their feminine sometimes, because when men are too much in the masculine, they're in their heads and they're not in their bodies, and they don't know how to switch off, and they don't know how to relax. They don't know how to nurture themselves. So that's why a lot of men, and again, I'm overgeneralizing, but turn to substance abuse in order to turn off the mind and to numb themselves and to relax and to go into the body, to go into the feminine, to go into the softness and to get out of the head. But I want to go back to women reflecting on when you've been in the feminine, when you've been in the masculine. So it feels better for you as a woman to be predominantly, not all the time, but predominantly in your feminine. It feels more natural. You feel more nurtured. You feel more content. You feel more connected with yourself. So it's like a 70-30 rule for both men and women. For women to be in their feminine energy 70% of the time, and then to be in the masculine energy 30% of the time. Obviously, it depends on your situation and what you need to do. But ideally, that's the rough estimate. And for a man, if he can be in a healthy masculine energy 70% of the time, he generally feels good in himself. So start to reflect, for both men and women, start to reflect on your life and also how you're showing up on a daily basis. Am I in my masculine energy right now? Am I in my feminine energy right now? Does it feel healthy or is it toxic? Am I being overly dominant and controlling, or am I holding a safe space and providing and taking initiative and being alpha and leading? And when I say being alpha, a lot of people have associations with that too, that, oh, being alpha means that you are tall and you have lots of muscles and you give orders and you're strict and you're controlling and all of that. No, not at all. I know so many healthy alpha males that has nothing to do with their appearance. It's their energy. And when you're in a healthy masculine, people just naturally want to follow you. So we see this in herds. So like a wolf pack, for example, the alpha wolf is at the front. He protects the pack. And where he goes, the gang goes because they trust him. Trust is a huge, huge, huge thing there. And what builds trust? Consistently showing up and consistently giving results and consistently providing and consistently taking care. So you trust the alpha male, you trust the leader because he consistently shows up and he consistently provides. And for women, I'm seeing these beautiful birds fly around here. So for women, reflect on your life where you have been feeling like you're in a healthy femininity, and when you're in toxic femininity. So the balancing of these energies are happening, and it's not an overnight thing. We're still going to see some butting heads. We're still going to see some, darkness being illuminated. It's a process. And one other thing that I want to say about feminine leadership is that you can lead from a feminine place. Most people have this idea or notion that leadership can only be masculine because you have to tell people what to do, you have to give orders, you have to take initiative. But what are these orders based upon? What are the orders based upon? What is the initiative based upon? Listening to the feminine. What are the needs? So when a woman says, I need XYZ, I feel like, for example, if a woman says, I want to feel safe, or I am hungry, or I am whatever, you can insert whatever the need or the feeling is, or the desire, that provides the basis for what the order will be. So that's why Mother Earth and what she needs and what Mother Earth and what she feels provides the basis for what the actions will need to be. So that this is why we need to listen. So where did the leadership really come from? Where was the starting point? Was it the man taking the initiative, or was it the man listening to what the need was and forming an initiative based on that? So you can lead from a place of feeling, you can lead from a place of expression, you can lead from a place of being yourself, basically, as a woman. And then everything else around you will start to fall into place. And if you're surrounded by healthy masculine energy, you will be listened to, your needs will be taken care of, and the vision that you have for yourself and your future will come into fruition in unionship with the masculine. And this is one aspect of the many aspects that we are looking at when it comes to the collective, when it comes to humanity uniting, when it comes to humanity eventually coming to a point where we can collaborate and work harmoniously as a species and stop fighting each other. And for all of the beings, the higher dimensional beings and the planets and the consciousnesses that have already transcended the level of where we're at, like I mentioned, we're still at toddler phase. We're still growing up here down here. That are watching, they've already transcended that. And there's been a non-interference so far because no one can intervene with our free will. But once we grow up a little bit more and we stop fighting each other and we learn how to collaborate in harmonious ways, then we reach some next level ascension fun. That's when it's going to get really fun, because then that's when we're going to get access to tools and technologies that we've never had access to before. That's when we can collaborate with other species that are even non-planetary, non-terrestrial species, and we can actually have interplanetary exchange with other species. But we have to grow up first. You can't give a knife to a baby and expect it to understand what to do with it. You can't give a knife to a baby and say, "Hey, cut yourself make yourself a peanut butter sandwich." Slice the bread. The baby's just going to be like, put it in its mouth, and it's danger. Don't do that yet. So that's why we haven't gotten access to certain things yet as a species. But it will come. It will come as we grow up down here. So this will take time, but in the meantime, we can have fun with evolution. We can have fun with growing up. We can have fun with expansion. We can have fun with expanding our consciousnesses. We can have fun with, and for those of you who know me, you know that I really enjoy, I like fast tracks. I like to speed things up. And this is not to say that we can't enjoy the process. Oh, we can enjoy the process. I mean, talk about tantra. Allow life to become a tantric experience as we're moving through all of these shifts, you know, individually and globally. So we can enjoy this process. We can enjoy learning. We can enjoy growing together. We can enjoy expanding together. So it's not about to reach some final destination, because there is no final destination. There's only the now. So we can just continue to make the now even more awesome and better and great as we are here in the now. So isn't that just wonderful? Just right now, you know, now I'm here with you. You are there. I am here. We're having this moment of connection. Here's the next now. Here's the next now. I also have this thing where my pineal gland can secrete DMT very easily. That's a whole other story in and of itself. But imagine reaching a point where your life literally becomes a beautiful ceremony that you just never want to get out of. And that is really life. You know, why do you think you came down here? Not to say that we're not moving through darkness and challenges and all of that, but we are, and I can say this with faith in my heart, we are moving out of the dark ages. You know, this is the year of the dragon, and even if you're watching this in 2032, it will always be like that. Things are always getting better and better and better. And a lot of people, if you watch the news, which I don't advise you to do, you say, oh, everything's horrible, everything's going down south. Well, everything's perspective. And also, according to quantum science, there's infinite potentialities. There's infinite versions of yourself. There's infinite versions of reality. There's infinite versions of planet Earth. There's infinite versions of this all. So it's a matter of choice, and you get to choose. And that's the most empowering thing, is that you have a choice. So don't forget that you have a choice. So when someone presents to you this horrible news of, you know, all this horrible stuff is going to happen and everything's horrible, you get to decide, do you want to subscribe to that? Or you can say, you know what, I'm going to allow that to be your universe, and that's going to be your reality, but my reality is a reality that I create. My reality is actually quite distinct from yours. And this is the mirror effect. No, it's not the mirror effect, it's the glass. I think he calls it the glass effect that Bashar talks about, Daryl Anka, who channels Bashar, and many other people refer to this too, is that we can have all of these parallel timelines next to each other that are very different. So you can observe a reality that's negative in nature. And when I say negative, it doesn't necessarily mean bad. It's just like two sides of the battery. You have a positively charged side and you have a negatively charged side. You can observe the negative side, but you can still remain in a positive state. And you can have your universe in the way that you have created it. And you can look outside and observe great things, and you can look outside and observe not so great things. But you get to choose what your reality is going to be like. And ultimately, we all get to come to the realization that we create our own universes. You are your own universe. You are that which you have been looking for this entire time. And that's the huge cosmic joke. You're it. You are it. And then this veil of forgetfulness, you know, keeps us in this chasing, oh, gotta figure it out mode, whilst all this time, you are the thing that you've been looking for this entire time. The awareness that is streaming through you is the awareness that you have been looking for all the time. And that awareness, there's a particular quality to that awareness, because your ego right now might say, well, I know I did this and that. But at the true core of your being, the true essence of who you are true unconditional love. And I don't mean romantic love. I mean the actual frequency of love. Love has its own frequency. And you are a spark of source energy, and you came from that. We're returning to that. You are that. And the veil of forgetfulness, a lot of people see that as a bad thing, but it's also a great thing because it allows us to explore. It allows us to expand. It allows us to see, oh, well, what would we do with free will if we forgot who we are? You know, that's you being God, forgetting that you're a God and seeing that what would you do if you had free will and you forgot that you were God? And then we get to come to this realization. And when I use the term God, it's not in this religious way that there's a man up in the sky and all of these negative associations with God. You can interpret that in your own way. But source energy, universal energy, life force energy, however you want to call it, you can even get into this the scientific terms of it. 0 point energy, the electron that is everywhere and here and there at the same time. There's many different ways to refer to it. You can find what resonates to you the best. But that is you. You are it. And it's nice to come to that realization because then you definitely get more into an empowered state. So what we're also, I know I spoke about feminine and masculine energy, but ultimately what we're also coming into is realizing that we are source energy and we are fully responsible for our reality and how we create our reality. And this is why I do subconscious reprogramming, because we are, as humans, when we're born in here with a veil of forgetfulness, we do get programmed. And I'm not going to go into the whole reptilian constellation and how we've been enslaved as humans, because that doesn't need to be given attention to, because where, attention goes, energy flows. That has been a thing and that has been real, but we don't have to worry about that anymore. You can focus your attention onto that. You are a spark of God. You are life force energy, and you are responsible for your life. The only thing that we need to deal with now is deprogramming all of the social constructs, all of the programming from society, all the lack and the limitation, because you can really have an abundant, amazing, prosperous life with everything that you desire. And that becomes even easier when you take full responsibility and you step out of victimhood. So then you take all of your power back. When you are blaming your mom and your dad and your partner and your boyfriend and your ex and this and that and his full tail, you're saying everyone else's actions dictate how I feel. Then you are totally powerless. But if you in every situation reflect on, okay, what's the lesson here? What am I learning? How can I grow from this? How can I deal with the situation better next time? Then you are taking your power back. Then you're not dependent on everyone else's behavior. You're not dependent on everyone else's thoughts. You're not dependent on your external circumstances, because you are coming back home into yourself, into your source-like energy, and you can then quantum shift into the higher frequencies that you are desiring to go into. Because let's be honest here, everyone's seeking, more higher frequencies, better realities, and that's a natural thing. Not to say that, of course, gratitude and being content with where you are is step number one. When you realize that you're a life source energy, you can be pretty happy anywhere, really. So then you're not chasing, you're intentionally creating. So when you feel fully at home in yourself, in your heart, as you are all that is, you are your own universe, you're at home in yourself, then you don't need to chase the external. You don't need to be in this constant state of dissatisfaction, and then I will never be happy until then, and I will never be happy until this, and I will never be happy until blah, blah, blah. And then you can still create and manifest all of the things that you do desire, but it comes from a place of content. It comes from a place of gratitude. You're already in that state of gratitude because you know that reality that you wish to create already exists. It's just a matter of matching that frequency. And this is when we go into the quantum, because every reality, every version that you can even imagine already exists as a potential, as a wavelength. And then it's it's a matter of becoming that frequency, and then you'll see it collapse into this third dimension. So this is why I love the quantum science and the quantum side of it all, because it's easier to get our minds on board. We do have a mind, we do have a brain, we do operate with our brains every single day, We're not purely instinct like a lot of like animals are like. And this is what gives humans the gift of creation, is that we have an imagination. We can attune to frequencies. We have this emotional, landscape that we can explore and learn how to play with in order to create realities that we want to experience. Because you came here to experience and play and explore and expand. So once you start to get a hang of that, then life becomes very interesting when you can instantaneously turn thoughts into matter. And you turn thoughts into matter all the time anyways. But that's why a lot of people find that their reality is like a mixture of, it's like a horror show, and it's a dream come true at the same time, because you're spitting out all different kinds of signals to the universe consistently. But when you become more deliberate, more intentional, more focused, this is why meditation is great, then you will see that you can start to refine your reality more and more and more and more and more. And then your manifestation skills start to speed up, and that's when it starts to get a little trippy. Because you will have a thought, and then boom, it's there. You have a thought, and then whoa, next, it just happens. Like you will be like, oh, I kind of want to experience this, and then the whole universe is just like delivers to you everything that you need to in order to experience it effortlessly. So you got to be ready for that. And a lot of people have subconscious fears of receiving and becoming everything they want to become. Oh, let's say you want to publish a book. That's a desire. Let's say you're an author and you want to publish a book. That is great. That is wonderful. Plenty of people are going to benefit from reading your book. But this is where all the hidden subconscious beliefs that we're not aware of kind of sabotages your life, because all of your fears will pop up. Oh no, people are going to hate it. Oh no, I'm actually a horrible writer. Oh, it's really hard to get it on Amazon, or I have become a bestseller. I don't have the contacts. Blah 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 blah, and that leads to inaction. And then suddenly you're like, oh well, I wanted to write a book, but that never happened. I wonder why. Collective fear programming. So that's what I'm very passionate about removing, because my biggest dream and desire, and what I'm very passionate about, is allowing everyone to become true deliberate creators of their reality through their hearts, through their heart consciousnesses. And when I refer to becoming true deliberate creators of their reality, it's from that source energy. So I've mentioned in a previous video that was about quantum shifting, that a lot of you, quantum leaping, shifting, jumping, whatever we want to call it, there was a lot of you really liked that one. So if you haven't watched that, I encourage you to watch it. So when I talk about becoming a true deliberate creator of your reality, when you become a true deliberate creator of your reality, it's not from this toddler egoic phase where you just want things at the expense of other people, that where your actions hurt other people. Because when you are connected to yourself on a godlike level, on a source-like level, anything that you desire benefits yourself and everyone else, because you're operating from life force energy. And this is where, when you're connected to that energy, the universe will orchestrate itself around you and provide you everything that you need, because your desires and what you want to manifest supports life. Anything that you do that supports the life force energy in yourself is connected to the life force energy that's in everything in existence. So anything that you then desire will be supported by that life force energy that created you, because you are adding to existence in a positive way. So then you can remove all fears around your desires and, oh no, is this bad thing gonna happen, that bad thing gonna happen, because what you are desiring is a win-win for everyone, and that's why I want you to win. I want you to win. I want you to get everything that you desire, because everyone wins when you win. So it's fun to win when we all win together. And then we can start to have a lot of fun with our imagination. And we are so blessed to have an imagination. You can close your eyes. And some people say that they can't use their imagination, but it's just a matter of practice, and some people, there's also a difference between imagination and visualization, but that's a whole other thing in and of itself. But if I say imagine a flower, You know, maybe to you it can be the word, or maybe to you you can actually see a flower. There's a flower right here. It's really nice. Oh. Did I just manifest that because I thought about it? No, the flower was already there. Or was it? I'm just kidding. When I say to you, imagine a flower or a cup or whatever you want to imagine, it's there in your mind's eye. And if you do have real blockages around your imagination, then you can do third eye clearings. There's lots of things that you can do to improve your imagination. It's not like, oh, that's a shame, you will never be able to imagine anything. You have been using your imagination, but it's a matter of strengthening it. So why was I talking about imagination? Oh yeah, that we're gifted with imagination. So when we come to this source-like energy and we become unified, the feminine and the masculine, and humanity comes together as a harmonious whole, and we have this imagination. What do we all want to create? We all, generally, most of us want the same things. An abundant life filled with love, filled with community, where we get to express ourselves, where we get to be in our passion. So whether you love art, so whether you like to read, or whether you like to write, or maybe you want to make movies, or maybe you want to take care of plants, maybe you want you name it, whatever it is that you want to do, you get to be in the full expression of your passion. And that's how you add your stroke of paint to the canvas of light. So that's why I also encourage people to follow their dreams, I'm going to say follow your dreams. I don't mean just like sit in your room and meditate and think about all the things that you want and never take action. It takes courage to follow through on your dreams, especially in this society where there's a lot of judgment, there's a lot of setbacks, and there's polarity, and there's all of that, and your own subconscious, that, you know, your inner critic, that makes it really hard for you. So I'm not saying that that's easy, but you didn't come here for an easy ride. You came here for the challenges. So but at the same time, what's really nice is as we are collectively rising in our frequencies, and when we are rising in our frequencies, manifesting becomes much easier. So then we can have a lot of fun with our imagination. Like, imagine what we can create on this planet together. Most of us want to have fun. Fun is a big theme for me for 2024. I'm just realizing how long I've been talking for. Haha, 54. Imagine what you want to create and what we all want to create together, and what that version of Earth looks like. Have some fun with that. So I'm going to leave you with one last little nugget, and that is, before you go to bed, before you go to sleep, as you start to wind down, you're starting to get sleepy, your brain waves are changing into a theta brainwave state. And when your brain is in a theta brainwave state, you can do a little bit of subconscious reprogramming on yourself, because you can access your subconscious at that state. So instead of worrying about the next day, instead of worrying about this and that, instead of worrying about if you're saying, oh, I don't have enough money, and I don't have anyone in my life, oh, I'm lonely, and you're having these statements to yourself when you're in the theta brainwave state before you go to sleep, you're just programming that deeper in. If you want to start changing that around, even if it doesn't feel fully authentic to yourself, you don't have to make statements or affirmations of that don't feel authentic, because then you're not being really true with yourself. But have fun with your imagination. Listen to some nice, pleasant music and start to play with your imagination. Oh, what would it feel like if I had this version of reality that I really desire? What would I be doing on a daily basis? Oh, maybe I would have a dog. Oh, maybe my house would look like this. And you can start to have fun with the details. Like, oh, even like, what kind of cutlery would I have in my kitchen? You know, you can even go as far as into that. Because when you are in that theta brainwave state, when you are combining the imagination, the thought, and then the feeling, then you get the electromagnetic impulse that is sent out to the universe, and before you know it, bam, it's there in the physical reality. So giving you a little homework, home play. before you go to sleep, have fun with your imagination, enjoy it, see the things in your imagination, feel the things that you want to feel before you go to bed, and that is really just going to make the path really smooth for you. Because from a subconscious reprogramming, theta healing, quantum science perspective, if that starts to get programmed into your subconscious, the universe is mental, and the reality has no other choice to reflect back to you your subconscious beliefs. 95% of your reality is created by your subconscious. If you are doing that reprogramming on yourself anyways before you go to bed, you will start to wake up and suddenly you have a message about, oh, hey, let's say it's the cutlery thing. Maybe you want gold cutlery. Before you know it, you're going to wake up and then suddenly your aunt calls you and says, hey, I have this gold cutlery. It looks like this and I don't really need it. Do you want it? And you're going to be like, what? Stuff like that's going to just start to happen over and over and over and over and over and over and over again, and rapid. So get clear on what you want, because oops, it's already happened. I have so much fun with you guys. Keep watching the videos, and I really appreciate all of your comments and your likes and the messages that I get from you. I really appreciate it. This is, we're all in this together, and it's my greatest passion and joy to share this with you and to show up for you and to be here with you. So feel free to interact. Feel free to ask me any questions if you have any questions. It really helps me if you subscribe and you comment and you do all of that to keep the content going. Feel free to share it with other people as well. And I love doing this anyways. So there's going to be more videos coming your way. So I'm sending you lots of love, and I'll see you in the next snippet.